The provisional rosters, 40 men deep, have been announced for the four nations that will participate in the CONCACAF Nations League, which is the gateway to what is going to be an incredible run-in for 2021, which will include the Gold Cup, which won't really feature many of these players, some of them. It will also feature World Cup qualifying, and then we'll take it into the World Cup in 2022. But this is just a couple of weeks away at this point. So the 40-man rosters are going to be cut down to 23. We're going to take a look at the U.S. and Mexican squads. I'll start with Mexico. This will be a little more brief. The big story, Chicharito Hernandez, not in the 40-man roster. He has been tremendous in the opening month of Major League Soccer, has 6 goals in 4 games. Mexico really need a presence up front. They have great defenders, midfielders, wingers, goalies. But what they don't have is a guy who can score. They did in Raul Jimenez, who was called into this squad by Tata Martino. But Raul Jimenez had a catastrophic injury, a head injury, that the scar still remains. We've talked about it here. You have to question if he can come back from this. And there are reports now that he's getting close to expanding his trainings and maybe making a game. But to think that he's going to be back as the player he was is really folly. I hope I'm wrong. But I saw that injury, and it gives me nightmares. I can't imagine what it must do to Raul Jimenez, even if he comes back healthy, to be able to play at such a courageous level, to go into these challenges with his headers, fearless. It's very hard to say. So I thought maybe there'd be a door open for Chicharito. Carlos Vela, also not on there. He's made his intentions pretty true that he doesn't want to continue on the national team, and this certainly says that he must have had a conversation with Tata Martino, or didn't have a conversation, and left it at that. The Mexican talent is good, not as good as the U.S. talent. I'm sorry. I am sorry. The U.S. talent, when you look at the clubs they're playing for, is a cut above. Mexico obviously has Tecatito and Chucky. Raul Jimenez is a game changer if he's healthy. A lot of players based in Mexico that I think will do well, but it's that the 23 players that they get out of that are going to be very competitive. Mexico will be playing against Costa Rica in the semifinal. The winner there goes on to face either the United States or Honduras in the final, and then we get into World Cup qualifying. Mexico has Iceland May 29th in North Texas. They play Honduras June the 11th. Those are the non-games of the Nations League, which is going to be very interesting. And then June 3rd I believe it's in Denver. And then we'll see what happens on June the 6th. So Mexico is in place. It's going to be exciting. Look, Tata Martino hasn't really gotten the great results from this team over these last few months, but I expect Mexico to flick a switch. They're really good, but when I compare them to the U.S. roster on paper, the U.S. is a superior product as it stands. Let's take a look at the U.S. team, and no real surprises in the 40-man provisional roster. A couple guys I would have liked to slip in there, if only to make up the numbers, because again, only 23 of these guys. Caden Clark, Cade Cowell. That's a lot of C's. Caden Clark, the Red Bulls attacker, midfield attacker, beautiful player, and he has been delivering for the Red Bulls, especially this past weekend. I think he had a goal and assist. And then Cade Cowell, who's also 17, built like he's 25. He has a physical presence like we've rarely seen. He is already pushing central defenders 5-10 years his senior. He's a man, and he's 17. So Cade Cowell to me is going to be a huge part of the U.S. men's national team moving forward. You see what he does and the physical tools he has, strong, built like an ox, really good looking too. So, I mean, he's going to be a good poster boy for the team. Just throw him out there. Cade, smile for the public. That's neither here nor there. I would have liked to seen those two guys make it. The good news, we probably see those two gentlemen, kids, in the Gold Cup squad. So the 40 guys, I mean, an embarrassment of riches for the U.S. And you look at what they are going to do. June the 3rd, they will be taking on Honduras. Bit of a revenge game because remember Honduras knocked the U.S. out of Olympic qualifiers. They have a game on May the 30th in Switzerland against the Swiss. I think the last time they played Switzerland in a friendly there, I called it. Game-winning goal by Michael Bradley. It's a long time ago. And then they'll play Costa Rica in Salt Lake City, June the 9th. They have that game. The game for the U.S., I said Mexico was playing in Denver. That's not the case. USA is playing Honduras in Denver. Altitude, baby. So that's going to be big, and we all hope we see USA-Mexico. Unless you're Costa Rican and Honduran. But USA-Mexico on June the 6th would be titanic, and everyone would focus in on that. It would be a huge event. So I'm looking at the squad for the United States, and I'm pretty sure we have the 3 goalkeepers. Zach Steffen will be the number 1. I would hope Matt Turner is number 2, but Ethan Horvath might pip him at number 2, but those will be the 3 goalkeepers. The numbers suggest you take 8 defenders, you take 6 midfielders, 6 forwards, and maybe an extra midfielder because the group of midfielders is so good. But of the 8 defenders, I'm pretty sure we have 7. John Brooks, Chris Richards. I'd like to see Chris Richards start, but I don't think Greg Berhalter is ready to do that just now. I think Serginho Dest and Reggie Cannon will be your starting fullbacks. Aaron Long, Matt Miazga, and Anthony Robinson will make it up there. So those are 7 defenders. I think the question with the 8th, do you go with another fullback like Brian Reynolds, who hasn't really played that much for Roma? Do you go with Mark McKenzie, who's playing in Belgium but hasn't really played a lot recently? Walker Zimmerman? I'm not sure who that 8th guy is, so I'm not going to throw it out there, but there will be 8 defenders. The midfielding group is, I'm almost at a loss for words. Just the class of that group from top to bottom. Let's say they take 6. 5 of them are pretty locked in. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa. That's probably your starting trio in the midfield. Brendan Aronson, who I have been watching a little bit closer in Austria. He's already outgrown that league. He's ripped through the Austrian league. I'd like to see him in the Bundesliga, maybe as soon as next season. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but maybe he gets fast track to Leipzig, the parent club of Red Bull. Jesse Marsch, who has to take a lot of credit for the development of Brendan Aronson. I rarely see a player hit the ground running so well in Europe like Brendan Aronson. That's why I'd like to think, and he can play at winger, that he could maybe crack that midfield starting 3. If he does, it would be Musa, and I can't see Musa stepping aside, but it's a good problem to have. Sebastian Lletget is going to be in there. Greg Berhalter loves him. He has delivered in those spots. So those are the 5 midfielders. The 6th spot it's going to be some good players. I like Jackson Yuill because he does something a lot of other midfielders can't on this U.S. team. He can hit a long ball. He can hit a ball from distance. I know those folks that look down on Major League Soccer would never agree with that. But he really seems to me like the best bet. But I'm not sure. 5 guys for sure. Let's look at the forwards. Again, a remarkable group. And 4 guys for sure. Christian Pulisic. And by the way, Christian Pulisic and Zach Steffen will not be available for the Switzerland game because they have a Champions League final to play. It's on that same weekend. So they'll skip that one. But I can't wait to see Pulisic playing with the U.S. men's team. I'm a little bummed, actually, he's not going to play on that Switzerland game because I think that's a good way to get him going for this Nations League matchup. And hopefully it's Honduras and Mexico in a final on that second game. Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Josh Sargent, Daryl Dike, who would both compete for the number 9. I would tend to think Sargent gets the nod, even though Dike has been much better in his European season with Barnsley. He'll be hoping to get Barnsley promoted later this month. That would be huge. And then maybe he fulfills that dream of playing in the Premier League. Those 4 are in. Tim Weah would make it 5. Number 6, Gyasi Zardes, Nicolas Gioacchini. Do you take 5 forwards? It's a tough decision. I just really like that midfield group. But again, this is a remarkable group. And, maybe you get that 3rd MLS guy in there, which just goes to show the league is developing. And the guys who don't make it, they will come into that Gold Cup squad, and there'll be a lot of MLS players on that Gold Cup team. That Gold Cup team is going to be really good. It's going to be compelling. Even though it may not be the A team, I don't know if it's a B team. I could be like an A- team. That's going to be a fantastic watch as well. So there we go. One thing to keep tabs on in all of this is World Cup qualifying down the pike a little bit. But there you go. We need to find a striker too. We need to find a striker, but it's a good problem all over the board. Just a couple weeks out. Nations League, USA, Mexico, perhaps on a collision course. Let's get it on. This is what we've been waiting for. A reminder to please subscribe to the Soccer OG here on YouTube. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. Currently, anywhere podcasts are available. I get in even deeper on some of these topics and look at everything that's important because I watch everything. Placido Domingo. We'll talk to you very soon.